Hello and welcome. My name is Melissa Rebronja. I am an integrative healing practitioner and host at healyourheart.love. And today we have a very special guest, Love Tashia Asanti. Welcome.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here. Glad to join you. This is the work that I love doing.
This is our second time working together in a sense, because I was honored to have you as one of the speakers for the Sacred Body Summit in October of 2020.
Yes.
And your segment was amazing and powerful and really special. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for what you do. An honor to have you as a guest. And I mean that from my heart.
I received that. Thank you.
You're welcome
to be here. Yes.
Yeah. Reading about you on your website, I would say that you are 1,000 amazing things that are so unique. You have a rich description of all the beautiful things that you can do and that you're gifted at. Today, we want to introduce you so that people can get a snippet, an introduction to you. What I have is Priestess.
Yes.
Master Intuitive.
Yes.
And best-selling author.
Yes.
Does that feel like the three things that you'd like to talk about today, or is there anything else that you'd like to add or take away?
No, those are the kind of the center points, I think, of my work right now. I'm, of course, also a breakthrough coach. So I help people break through to whatever their next level is, to break through the muck and the mud of life, to live their best, to live their destiny and get on path and aligned with their purpose. So I'm in California, Southern California. I live out here in this hot desert where things are always transforming and elevating to the next level. The heat has a way of making everything rise and expand.
Yes.
And so, so I get to live and do my work, but I also travel all over the world to do my work.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And what would you like us to know about you, Love?
Oh my goodness, you touched upon some of it. I am passionate about life. I'm passionate about happiness. I like to shift paradigms.
Yeah.
I like to transform. I like to bring more light wherever I go. As they say, light up the darkness. So when you go a place, you want to try to leave it better than it was when you found it. And so I just try to be a vehicle and a medium and a channel for that every day. And in the middle of it, to rest, to reflect, to laugh, to dance, to have fun. Because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it all?
I was just thinking that today.
Yes.
Playing some music before this interview. Absolutely. Because we can do everything we do with fun.
That's
including healing trauma and deep wounds and all that kind of stuff. Yes, thank you for. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Angeles, and then I lived a big chunk of my life in Colorado. And but Los Angeles, California is my home.
It's your home.
But I've traveled, internationally. So wherever I am, I make it my home.
Beautiful.
I create a home.
I love that.
Yeah. So I want to experience the people versus the tourist experience where I go. I always like to be like where the people really live and where they feel the most connected culturally. So I search for that in the places where my travels take me.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And how did you become a priestess?
Oh man, well, I don't know if we can do a show that long.
Right? Well, the shorter version of just that, because I love that word is beautiful and we need more priestesses. Sometimes that word is projected on or judged, but when you say priestess, it's very clear to me. Yes, you are.
Yes.
So I'm just curious about your personal journey and how you arrived to that place.
Well, there are different types of priests. I am a priestess in the Ifa tradition, and Ifa is an African traditional spirituality, an indigenous spiritual practice that comes from Ile Ife, Nigeria, West Africa. But of course, there are an estimated 75 million practitioners of some form of Orisha spirituality in the world. And I am a part of a handful of women who live in the West, who live in America, who are high priests in the Ifa tradition. I've been initiated for 23 years to Yemoja. And then in 2016, I took my pilgrimage to become high priest, which you have to study many years to get to that level. And then after you get initiated, you have another 10 to 20 years to even approach mastery.
Wow.
And so it means that not only that I've gone through an initiatory process, but that I've served, that I've studied, that I've apprenticed, and really invested myself in the practice and the mastery of my tradition. My faith is centered around honoring my ancestors. And of course, I got on this path because I wanted to heal my ancestors and I wanted to realign with the traditions and the spiritual paths of my ancestors. So I had grown up, I'm the daughter of a pastor, a minister, a Christian minister. It's always those PKs, right?
Right. Yes.
Right. Forward new paths. And so so I experienced that religion of my childhood. But as I grew into my adult life, I realized there were other things out there. And some of those things really resonated with my spirit and called me to learn more. And as I did, I realized I had tapped into something so much bigger than what I initially imagined. So not only did I become a priestess, I founded an international spiritual community called Ile Ori Agbe Egun, where I helped others also get on the path.
Oh,
So I went on
beautiful.
to initiate 157 priests to my tradition. And now I'm moving into another level. I called it retirement. And my master teacher told me, no, you're not retiring, you're being promoted. And I like that idea.
Why not, right?
Yeah. So I'm being promoted. And now I'm really focused on my creative endeavors, promoting the 9 books that I've written, trying to get one of them adapted to the big film, to the big screen. So I've written a feature script for a feature film, and I'm meeting with producers and things like that to
Beautiful.
get that thing, yeah, get it done.
Well,
It's already
may it
done.
happen. Yes.
Right. It
Yeah.
already exists.
Yes.
And now we
Yes.
just, right. Yes.
Beautiful. I
Yes.
love that your work as a priestess is connecting and healing your ancestors. And now, as trauma healing is becoming more and more mainstream, a lot of people are looking at healing their intergenerational trauma. So, wondering if you can say a little bit about the process that you work with for
Mm,
healing our ancestors.
yes. We use a lot of different mediums in the Ifa tradition. Primarily, we use oracles, we use Ifa divination. So I do life readings using a 6,000-year-old oracle that you can go to Africa today and see, someone reading and using this very same oracle to divine, to chart the course and the blueprint and roadmap for someone's life. I also use intuitive medicine. So I
Mm,
work with that quite a bit. I was marked with that gift at a very young age and then got formal training in Ifa to be able to use it more effectively and to be able to administer self-care while
yes.
I'm doing my work. So I
Yes.
use that as well. And then we use many type of ceremony and ritual as part of our tradition. And a lot of my work is in teaching people to really remember what
Mm,
life will make you forget. Our
right.
divine presence, our purpose, to align with it. I think the Western world conditions us to be in survival mode mostly, right? We focus
Yes.
on the ultimate job with a great pay and the 20 years and the gold watch. And
Hmm.
so often to me, people get to that door and retire and realize they've never lived.
Right.
So, as a coach, I try to teach people, let's live now. Let's live your best life now. Let's
Right.
be happy now. Let's not wait for anything to be happy
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
fulfilled. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ashe.
Beautiful. And
Yeah.
tell us about what Ashe means.
Ashe is a Yoruba word. It's actually more than a word. It is literally a ritual to speak the word Ashe.
Ashe.
Now, it translates roughly to "may it be so,"
Beautiful.
but it's more than just a word. It is an invocation. And when we
Beautiful.
say Ashe, we are now summoning all of the positive energies in the world, right? To support whatever we have just affirmed. So if I say, so say you said, I live in complete abundance, and I said Ashe,
You
I'm
know, intuitively, when you
affirming.
mentioned your script,
Yeah.
that's what I was like, may it be. But I wanted to check with you, if I say Ashe, is it okay that I say it? Or you know how there's like worry about cultural
Right.
appropriation. How
Thank
does
you.
that work?
I think that anyone can use the word Ashe who understands its sacredness and significance. So I would definitely, in beginning to use a word like that, say, giving homage to, the priestess who told me that I was blessed to be able to use this medicine and this invocation, because it is just that. It's not like just saying coffee or tea or blue or pink.
Yes.
Literally, you're now participating in a ritual.
Beautiful.
You're
Thank
now
you.
calling something forward.
Because I find myself doing like giving people like a little push, and now
Yeah.
I have a word. And I do human design readings, and I'm a manifestor, and manifestors are meant to initiate. So because I know that, that's why I'm kind of doing it. Like, let's give the little push to whatever it is.
Ashe.
Yeah, thank you. Ashe. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So you touched on your intuitive gift, and that's one of you were master intuitive. Can you
Yes.
share a little bit about what that is and that gift of yours?
I want to definitely say that journey began when I was 7, maybe when I was in my mother's womb. But I always say I came here knowing stuff, right? And of course, in my family, even though my mother was very liberal, very universal in her spiritual beliefs, my father was a little bit more conservative and strict with his religious beliefs and practice. But there was no cultural reference for me as a young person to what it meant to be a seer, to be an intuitive. It was something that I learned about as I went on. So, interestingly enough, the very first book that I wrote was The Sacred Door. And it was, a spiritual guide to power living. So it was about me getting in touch with my gift and what it meant to have it, how to use it with integrity and responsibility, how to do self-care and to care for myself and be able to shield and properly cleanse myself after I do intuitive work.
Yes.
So for me, when I say master intuitive, that's what I mean, that I spent a lot of time learning and studying to understand what that really meant. And then I apprenticed with someone who could really teach me about the medicine, because it's not just, learning how to use our gift, learning how to give the messages, but it's also learning how to take care of ourselves as we do the work. So how to spiritually protect, how to spiritually cleanse. So many intuitives and seers end up getting really ill, or, because they take on so much energy and they don't clean themselves, or they weren't taught how to properly open and close. So for me, when I talk about that level of mastery, that's what I'm indicating to anyone who seeks my services, is that, I really did the work so that I could do my work in a healthy way. How I give the messages, I don't traumatize people. I want to give them hope. I want to encourage them. I want them to feel like, because I sat with her, I have a better understanding of my life and my path and the things before me. So I
Beautiful.
believe in spiritual and ritual maturity. So important as we begin to use the medicine. Because today, so many people go get a deck,
Yeah.
or they buy some runes or cards or charms or whatever, and they learn how to use this stuff online, but they don't do that other piece of it. So the energy gets convoluted, and in some ways it can be unhealthy for the people they're reading and for them. They don't know how to bring spirit in, how to send spirit away. you know, how to turn
Yeah.
the light switch on, how to turn it off, what they're hearing, what they're getting, and then even sensitivity around how messages are delivered is very
Absolutely.
important.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what do I mean by it? When I say mastery, it's really a tribute to my teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the indigenous practice, you don't go out there in the world to use the medicine until they say, you're ready.
Yes. It's so important to have teachers, mentors that
Yes.
we're working with, rather than, okay, I learned one little skill and there I am,
Oh, yeah,
up in
right.
the world.
I'm a
Like
master.
there's tendency to do that. And when I became a life coach in my mid-20s, and I think that that's a young thing, when we're like, okay, I got it and now I'm ready to serve. And I think we all get humbled, and when we're older, we understand that this journey never ends. There is nowhere to get to. We are always growing and learning, and there's students and teachers, and it's always happening. There's nowhere like, okay, now I'm here and I'm
And that's cool because it stays exciting. It never gets
Absolutely.
boring because there's always something else to learn.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
say if I came to you for a session and I specifically responded to the master intuitive, what would the session look like with you?
I mean, it's certainly an oracle. I use the oracle first and foremost because it sees everything.
Got it.
You know, the particular oracle that I use is it gives us advanced sight beyond our human understanding.
Got
And
it.
I just absolutely love that. And I like that it's connected to a full medicine. So
Yes.
it's not just giving someone like a tarot card or
Yes.
a particular oracle reading, whether it's a rune or what's the one where you hold over the hand and
Pendulum?
oh, the pendulum.
Yes.
So I like that it's connected to a medicine. You know, when I use the Odu Ifa, when I use the oracles of the Ifa tradition, and I like that it's old. Something about that is really special and sacred to me, because it's been tried and tested. And I tell you, the accuracy continues to blow
Beautiful.
my hair back. Like
Mm-hmm.
so we have a saying, a joke in my community. We say we can't make this stuff up, right? Because the
Right.
stuff,
Right.
it just happens. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people call me 6 months, 9 months later, and they're like, "You remember when you did that?" And like it happened. I'm like, "Very good, very good." You know. So I would say my readings always start with an oracle,
Mm-hmm.
divination, and
Yes.
move into the intuitive flow. And then if there's any healing work that has to be done post session, we talk about that and kind of chart that out. And I
Beautiful.
get a sense of a person's objective when they
Yes.
come to sit with me. I want to know what they hope for, what motivated them to have a reading with me. Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank
yeah.
you for sharing that. Yeah. And do you do it in person or online, both?
Every way.
Okay.
Any
Great.
way we can do it.
You are a best-selling author. You're an author of 9 books, and you also call yourself a book doctor, which I love.
Yes.
What book would you like to talk about today?
I'd probably say my latest book is a novel called Any Heart Open.
Mm,
And I was so blessed to connect with a beautiful woman of color owned publishing house who ended up signing me for 3 of my books. That was something I had set intentions in the universe for about a year and a half ago. Literally, I'd put it as my status on social media that I wanted a whole life publisher, that I wanted a conscious, spiritually grounded publisher. And I got exactly that. And she ended up signing a new book that I had just written and was just completing. It's called Rainmaker Publishing is the house that I'm with. And then she repackaged and republished 2 of my earlier books, The Bones Do Talk and The Seer, Legacy of Stone and Spirit.
beautiful. I
That
love
was
all the titles. I
oh,
just feel
thank
them in
you.
my body. Like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, yes. Any Heart Open. It was so much fun and so therapeutic writing this novel. And I write nonfiction as well. I've written 2 books of nonfiction, 4 novels, and then was editor, co-wrote a book called Fluid Out of Darkness Comes Light. with a writing partner, and then I edited a couple anthologies, which was a lot of fun. This new book is really all about love, which part of my healing process, I gave myself the name Love because
Yes.
I wanted to be greeted in love. And, as people interact with me, I want the energy of love. Every time they call my name, they're speaking love to my spirit.
Yes.
And when that day comes, when I become an ancestor, I want to be remembered as love. So this book is all about love. In fact, I named the book tour Love is the Medicine, right?
Beautiful. Yeah.
And so it's a book about how people want to put love in boxes, but it can't be contained. It is the one medicine that flows freely. We can't name it, we can't
Mm.
label it, we can't stop its flow.
We
Love is
can't capture it.
everything.
We can't
We
hold it. We
can share
can't.
it,
It's
right?
like it's bigger than all of
Right.
us.
All we can do is share it.
Yeah.
And so it's also a book about the healing of these six players, these six people who have all been broken in different ways, and how their paths intersect seemingly in a random way. And they all become glued together by this psychic medium that each of them meet
Ah,
on the path, whose
beautiful.
name is Violet Brown. And if you read my books, Violet is in every one of my books. In fact, the series is called the Violet Brown Psychic Series.
Oh,
Yes.
wonderful.
And so this one kind of is set against the backdrop of the church and its role in either healing or destroying, uniting, or dividing people. Like, because the church can be such a great beacon, such a great platform for us to come together and heal and pray and manifest. But it also can be a vehicle for hate and destruction and intolerance and division. So I talk about that in the book and the revelations that these characters all have. And some of them come with very closed minds about life and the way that things should be, especially about love. But as the story goes, and I want to tell y'all too much because I want folks to read it, people's hearts and minds open in miraculous ways that lead to this ending that everybody writes me about. They're like, oh my, like they were so
Ah,
shocked, but happily
yes.
shocked by the way I closed the book and the magnificent healing that takes place with the characters. It was a really, really fun book to write. And all my books have a social cause, like an issue, social justice, or a world issue. So
Yes.
the very first book was centered around human trafficking.
Mm.
The second book was centered around the misuse of police power. The third book was centered around the opioid crisis in America. And then this book was grounded in the issue of religious extremism as well as pandemics. So I
Yeah.
kind of tie all of those issues together. It's just very therapeutic. It's a lot of fun to write. It's just what I love more than almost anything is writing.
Beautiful. I
Yes.
love that. Thank you for sharing. I wanted to ask you about religion versus spirituality. So, would you consider yourself a Christian?
I would say I started my journey in the Christian faith,
Yeah.
and I give thanks for all of the gifts that it brought into my life. And I will say at one point in my life, I felt the need to abandon one thing to embrace another. But I'm so grateful for the healing. And as I heal, to be able to find the good in everything that is about light and about love. So while I can't necessarily, I would say, in the mainstream concept of Christianity, because my mind and my heart and my spirit is too broad to embrace just one path. But
Right.
I will say that Christianity is definitely a part of my experience. And I also recognize God and the Christ and how it shows up in myself and in other people.
Got it.
So I don't know, maybe that does make me a Christian, a really good Christian, that I'm able to love in the way that the Christ was supposed to love in the Bible and in the teachings. Christ's compassion and tolerance was definitely not about the hate and divisiveness that we see in the world today. It was not about the control and the fear that we see in the world today. The way that the Christ loved was true compassion. and he found light in the darkest of human beings and elevated them through his love. And so if that, following that, and I do follow that, and I do believe in that,
Right.
that makes me a Christian, that I embrace it with pride.
Right. That's a beautiful answer. I love how you integrated your history in you, but then and then there's so much more, and it's limiting to just be one label.
Yeah.
It feels like there's room for everything. Do you have room for atheists?
I say I respect everybody's path. And one of my beloveds, my family members, he really identified kind of as an agnostic slash atheist. And he used to say, his way of saying was, I don't believe in all of that stuff. But what he believed in was good, orderly directions. What he believed in was compassion and service and integrity. And this man was one of the best people I ever met in my life. In fact, he saved my life.
Mm.
And to me, that just shows you that it's not about what we call God. It's about how we treat the people that, to
Absolutely.
me, God created.
Yeah.
So that, to me, is more godly than someone who goes to church 7 days a week and reads the
Absolutely.
Bible 24/7. I want to know how you treat people.
Yeah.
That tells me what kind of God you honor.
Right.
That tells me about your religion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So are you spiritual, Love?
Oh, definitely. That's a
It's not a trick.
solid
Yeah.
yes.
So to me, it feels like definitely spiritual. And
Yes.
then you have openness to everything.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not believe in religious extremism.
Yeah.
I don't honor it. I feel like people should embrace what resonates with them.
Absolutely. I love that you said your first book was The Sacred Door. One of my albums is Sacred Soul. And then the name of the summit that you were part of was Sacred Body.
That was so awesome.
I love the word sacred. So something in our spirits at different times recognized that we wanted to bring sacred, the word sacred.
Yes.
And I remember your summit presentation, which is available on my channel. So for those of you who are watching, look for it. You really were called to heal the body of a Black woman.
Yes.
So that, just like that topic, it was just so powerful. I'd love to hear a little more about where you're at in the work with healing, working with women specifically.
Yes. Healing women has always been a passion of mine. In witnessing through my work in my life, the oppression that many women deal with, the times when we are disloyal to ourselves, our dreams, in service to others. We're really programmed to be that way. And some of it is noble, it's honorable. I know as a mother, and at one point being a single mom, I really understood the need to make that sacrifice for my child. But at some point, I always say there should be balance. So now I would say that is part of a big push, and a big part of my work is to teach women to have balance and to be loyal to their dreams and their needs and their wants and their desires. So that would be one part of it. Another part is in liberating ourselves around our sensual desires.
Right.
So I talked about one of the books that I wrote, Fluid, Darkness Comes Light, which is a tribute to the work of Anais Nin. I never know if I'm saying her name right, but I do know that she was a powerful and evolutionary woman when it came to sensuality. This book is about that. It's about honoring the sacred, not letting anyone shame us for what we want, what we need, or what we desire. Guard against ageism or even body, fat shaming and body shaming, and to focus more on being healthy at any size. Like, can you climb a flight of stairs without getting out of breath? Can you do the things that you want to do that make you feel good and still feel healthy while you're doing it? I make that my focus versus having a body that looks a certain way. So wellness, healing, and then the coaching. I coach a lot of women executives, right, around expanding their brand and visualizing and seeing their brand, their product, their book catapulted, beyond what they imagined. Because I think so often just giving ourselves permission to be the greatest version of us is huge, because we're taught again to serve. When you look at the way the little girls are shaped and molded, right? They give you an easy bake oven.
Right.
They give you your baby doll already swathed in its blanket,
Yeah.
conditioning you that this has to be your path.
Yeah.
You're guilted if you even think about pursuing a career without having a mate or being a mom. I mean, like,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
looked down upon.
Yeah.
And if you're not married, if you're not coupled, you're looked at as incomplete. So those are some of the paradigms that I work to shift through my coaching,
Beautiful.
specifically with women. And I have seen just so many incredible success stories, so much evolution. I saw one woman's business who I coached, I worked with her, and her business literally hit the $1 billion marker. And so to be able to play a small role in that and to be a part of that has been phenomenal, and it's felt so fulfilling to me. And I know it's spirit, I really give all credit and victory to ancestors, to spirit, as well as
Yeah.
to my own Ori.
So who would be your ideal client?
I work with all kinds of people. I mean, moms. I work with women who work a 9-to-5 job, who are just launching their business or product or book. I have worked with CEOs who have, managed multi-millions of dollars. I coach people who coach people. My favorite, I love working with new authors. That's a lot of fun because I've ghostwritten maybe 8 or 9 books for people, and served as editor to other books. So I would say, who is my work for? Anybody who wants to live their best life, anybody who wants to align with their purpose and their destiny. I feel like we have a connection to. If you're not ready, if you're not serious, if you're not committed, I'm probably not the coach for you, because I'm going to give you that tough love to really help you elevate, but I'm going to be gentle and loving and understanding in the process. But I
Beautiful.
really only want to work with people who are done making excuses. That's kind of my motto. You're done making excuses about why you can't, I'm the coach for you.
Beautiful. I really feel that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where can people get your book, your books, but especially this last one?
My book is anywhere books are sold. It's on Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com. It's all over the internet. The self-help books I wrote, The Sacred Door and the Master Breakthrough. The Master Breakthrough is my business coaching book, and it's available on Amazon as well. The Sacred Door is only available on my website, officialtashiaasanti.com. All of the other books you can get online.
Beautiful. And is that the best way to contact you, is through your website?
Yes, it is. You can send me an email. You can get on the mailing list there, and I'm pretty findable.
Beautiful. Yes, you are.
Yes.
Anything else that you'd like to share that hasn't
Uh,
been covered?
I really want to thank you for the work that you do. And, the vision for the summit was profound. It was so timely, particularly because we were going through a pandemic.
Yes, we were.
And the best time to bring these powerhouse women, this powerhouse group of women that you assembled. And the fact that you had so many voices represented, that you put a major effort in to make sure the voices were diverse culturally and spiritually. I mean, this is the work to me that mirrors who spirit is. and what is needed in this universe to make the planet more peaceful and to help heal the planet. So I know, my sister, that the vibrations of that summit continue to touch and transform us. So I just
thank you.
thank you for the work.
Thank you so much. And I'm so honored that you were part of it and that we're continuing our connection. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the interview. This has been great. Thank you to those watching, and hopefully we'll have you back again.
Yay! Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Blessings.
Thank you, love.
All right.